Great. So welcome to the first ever Instagram live stream hosted by UNYP and Prague Lions American Football Club. We are really excited to talk to you tonight about the business side of sports and what types of things you can get involved with on the business side of sports. And first I'll introduce myself and then I'm going to pass it over to my colleague Zach from Prague Lions. So I'm Mark Anderson, I'm the marketing director of the University of New York in Prague. I've been working on sports marketing and sports sponsorships since 2008 when I worked with GE Money Bank here in Czech Republic on the sponsorship of the Czech Olympic team. I did all the VIP marketing arrangements in Beijing for the 2008 Beijing Olympics. I came back, stayed involved with the Czech Olympic Committee and the Czech team, and now I'm with the University of New York in Prague, as I said, and we are a sponsor of 4 teams for Sparta Praha floorball, including the men's elite team, as well as our host venue today, UNYP Arena. We sponsor the arena, which is home to Prague Lions partly, Sparta floorball, Sparta rugby, and lots of other teams, including volleyball and even ping pong. Or table tennis, sorry.
And a list of other things.
And a list of so many other
I couldn't even tell you, there's some clubs that exist on that door that I didn't know existed.
So yeah, I'm a proud sports marketer. I'm working on some other new big projects for UNYP in sports, but we'll talk about more of that later. So now I'll let Zach introduce himself.
Hi, I am Zach Aaron, the head coach of the Prague Lions. I'm the head coach of the adult team and the U21 team, and I oversee the coaching development really of all of our teams. And I'm also a part owner of the trademark and the logo of the Prague Lions, because the Prague Lions exist under a non-profit, or a spolek as we say in Czech. Okay. And then we got an SRO that the logo and the name belong to, and I'm part owner of that. So yeah, I wear lots of different hats with the Lions, kind of literally.
Well, there's one.
There's one. Yeah. But yeah, between the coaching duties, I also help with our media team and social media because I just enjoy it. I was a film student in college, so I like that type of stuff. And also, I do a lot of sponsorship stuff and looking for sponsors and engaging with sponsors. So pretty much, yeah, I'm kind of like, I like to say I'm the sports side of the GM. That's my hat. Okay. And obviously it has some spills over into the business side. And
which we're going to talk about tonight.
Which we're going to talk about.
For everyone to get a better idea of how it all works.
Yeah, and I've been here now collectively about 17 years, so. Okay. I have a Czech wife, she helps my street cred.
Okay, alright.
Okay,
alright, but tonight we're going to do it in English, okay?
And yeah, I really love what we're doing with the Lions. In 2019, after a long drought, I believe 13 years, we won the championship, and we were looking forward to last year, and obviously everything happened how it happened, and we are trying to get better through that, and look forward to the season this summer. So that's a bit about me.
Okay, cool. I've been here for 20 years, so
you've been here for 20.
I'm a bit ancient.
We're both ancient.
Being an American in Prague.
20 and 17 years, and not many of us can say that.
No, combined, we almost make our age.
That's true. That's true.
So, all right, let's get straight into it. What we're here to talk about, I guess, tonight is the business side of sports and understanding that, just to be part of sports doesn't mean you have to be an athlete. Like I said, I've been part of sports since 2008. I'm definitely not an athlete, but it doesn't mean I'm any less passionate about sports and sports sponsorship and sports marketing. So, yeah, I mean, some of the things that you guys might be wondering is, well, okay, I am an athlete now, but I want to stay involved in sports 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now. What do I do? How do I do it? And I just jotted down a few career options that kids could have as they progress out of being an athlete. Anything from a marketing manager for a sports team or a sports club, or even a sports association like the Olympic associations or any of the federations. You could be a sports agent representing players, coaches, etc. Across the gambit of sports. Event manager, international development. A lot of teams really require skills outside of their native language set to develop relationships and partnerships with other teams abroad. So for example, floorball requires a lot of work in Sweden, Finland, and Switzerland, because those are the top 3 countries for floorball. And so they have someone dedicated to working internationally. So it's a really great opportunity for somebody who speaks multiple languages to get involved in team development and work abroad.
Wow, I learned something.
Okay.
This is great. I'm learning something too. Like that's interesting. I've never even heard of that type of role. That's very cool.
It is, and you know, facility manager, HR, sports lawyers, sports psychiatrists, sports therapists. I mean, the list of careers you can do besides professional athlete in sports is immense. And you don't even just have to work for a team like Prague Lions. You can work for a sponsor like the University of New York in Prague, or you can work for a federation, national team. I mean, there's so many different like levels of sport as well. So that's kind of my take on, you know, possibilities for you guys. What do you think about that? I mean, you work with professional athletes all the time. What do you see them going on to do?
I mean, you covered it. There's beyond obviously the coaching role, because that's always something there. There's just so many things that go behind being involved in sports or being involved in any club. So like even today I was interfacing with some of our potential sponsors and connecting with a car company here in the Czech Republic, and like you just step back and you think, did I ever in my life think that'd be something I'm doing in this role? Probably not, but there's just so many little things that I think a lot of people don't even realize exist behind the scenes. Like everybody sees what's in front of the cameras, or you know, when you see nice pictures on Instagram or something, but everything that had to go around that. I mean, from the creative side to the management side, there's just endless possibilities.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing we were talking about is, you know, the different levels. So, you know, you could work for a venue like O2 Arena or UNYP Arena. You could end up working for a club or team like Prague Lions or Sparta Floorball. Sponsors. And when I say sponsors, I think it's really important, and I learned this semester, that a lot of my students who I teach sports marketing to, they didn't realize that sponsors aren't just people that give money. Because there's an entire list of engagement and activities that should go along with sponsorship to activate the sponsorship and engage the brand with the fans. And so sponsors is a huge chance for you to find careers in the business side of sports. And of course associations like Český Floorball, like Český Olympijska, like the Volleyball Federation.
Or the American Football Federation.
There you go.
I'm regularly in touch with the guy that does marketing and stuff for the American Football Federation, and it goes hand in hand with what the teams are doing and with what they're doing, because obviously the teams need the association to have a good presence in social media and media. It helps us both ways. So there's so many opportunities.
And I mean, it even keeps going in terms of fashion. So you can work with sports fashion brands. You can even be a fashion designer for sportswear. I mean, there's a gamut of never-ending things. And here's what I find troubling about sports so far in Czech Republic. Working as a sponsor here, there's too many athletes who have transitioned into the sports side of business without the proper education or courses or insight or training. You know, well, I was a great volleyball player, so now I'm going to manage a volleyball club. Doesn't necessarily work like that. And there's a lot of skills and a lot of practice that needs to go beyond. You can't just pick up an Instagram account for a sports team and think, well, I do Instagram for myself, so I can do it for anyone else. And you learned it all as you went along. Right?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I was a film student in college. I didn't take anything about management. I've done a lot of work on the side for leadership development and stuff, but that's different. But yeah, that and it's so true. I've seen it obviously being over here for 17 years, and I used to work at the sports faculty, taught English up there, so I had lots of different touch points with athletes, and you see it again and again and again.
Well, I want to ask you a question for everybody else. I mean,
and if they have questions.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, definitely send us your questions. We have somebody writing down all your questions, and as soon as we sort of get through some of the basics for you, we're going to be getting to all your questions. So, Zach, we talked about lots of different jobs, lots of different angles, lots of different ways you can get involved, places, types, etc. Prague Lions is doing something that's pretty incredible in terms of charity work.
Yeah.
Can you explain?
That's a whole other side we didn't talk about.
Well, yeah. Can you help us to understand how sports and charity are connected?
And maybe this is just the American in me, but when I came over originally to the Czech Republic many years ago, right? I just was really blown away that even the top sports of hockey, or as we say, soccer, you didn't, I know, hopefully nobody burns me for that.
I think I just lost 5 students.
My dad was an American football coach, so I was raised with a kind of an angst against soccer that I've had to work through living in Europe. But I don't have that angst anymore. Most days.
Good to know.
Most days. No, but it was interesting. I was just, because really it goes hand in hand with most professional sports teams, most university sports teams in the States, if they have any program that makes it sense, right? Mm-hmm. So I came over and I was really just surprised that there wasn't more going on in general in the sports world, from the very tippity top. I mean, obviously, American football is still kind of a marginalized sport, growing, close to 30 teams in the country of 10.6 million, that's pretty good. And it's growing pretty fast throughout Europe in general, but still a marginalized sport. So I was like, well, what can we do? And years ago, I can't even tell you how many now, 10, maybe 11, we started Hope Month, a toy drive during the Advent season, during the Christmas season. So those 3 Sundays leading up to Christmas, we did toy drives with Starbucks and with other local businesses, and then we take all those gifts to kids with cancer at Molto. And it was one of the most rewarding things we've done, and we do every year. And even this year, through a pandemic and everything, we still did it. And this year with the pandemic, we really started to branch out and say, how could we help, and what other ways we could help? Because really, I think of it as this: if we as a sports club and team aren't doing good for our community and really making better citizens, I'd say, we're just wasting our time. Mm-hmm. There's lots of people that just look at it like, let's win, not beat their chest that they win a lot, but it's like, are your players good men? Mm-hmm. Are they going to be good husbands, good fathers, good citizens? Are they doing something to make a difference? So that's really the thrust behind it, but let's be honest, we're talking about business and sport. I know it's a win-win. Mm-hmm. That if we do things, and we do things at a high level with excellence, mm-hmm. and we want to make a difference in people's lives, and we do make a difference in people's lives, people are going to take notice of that. Mm-hmm. And then that's going to help us get in media. Mm-hmm. So we get on Czech TV mm-hmm. for doing something good, and then that's something that we could take a screenshot of, put in a potential packet for our sponsors, and say, hey, look at, not only do we do this good work that's written about, that's shared, mm-hmm. but your name could be on our jersey when we're on Czech TV, mm-hmm. and not just for playing, but for doing good stuff. So we could actually be your charity wing of your business, right. Which adds another level of things, and it's just a win-win for me.
Yeah, I think it's a win-win for everybody. Yeah. It's fantastic. I mean, I wish more clubs in Czech Republic put some of their energy and efforts to giving back to the community as much as they entertain the community. Mm-hmm. And I think it brings me to one of my next points about the business side of sports. profit.
Yeah.
I mean, sports are about entertaining the public. Sports are about entertaining fans, engaging with fans. That's a huge section of what sports business is about. But sports business is also about making profit. And it's great to see that you can make profit and still give back. And I think
we're trying to make profit.
Okay. Some people are giving back without even making profit, clearly. But I think it's important that we understand that sports is about profit for players. It's about profit for owners, federations, etc. So I mean, with that said, you also need people who are managing the money of sports and managing how to engage with fans, because the more that you engage with fans, obviously the higher the value of your sponsorships that you can ask. And obviously the better the partnerships are going to work between the sponsor and the club or team. So I think that's having people that understand that is a big part of the business side of sports as well.
And it takes a lot of work. I mean, none of us. And this is maybe for a UNYP student out there that wants some great on-the-job training or an internship. That'd be something that we with the Lions would love, because like we step back in our management, like when we bought the naming rights and etc. in 2018, 2019, we decided we want to move towards more professionalism and more, not just a club, not just the Spolek that means, but like actually move and take advantage of the SRO and whatnot. But I just step back and I look at us owners or vlasnici and check it, and none of us have sports marketing, sports management background. I mean, to a degree, my dad was a head coach. I saw him manage a team, but coaching a high school in America is very different than coaching the Prague Lions.
Yeah.
There are lots of similarities, like his booster club and how they raise funds. We take a lot of those things to try to implement, but that's one of those things that we kind of had to learn on the go. Whereas you even said earlier, there's so many athletes that go into, they finish and like, hey, I can do this, no problem.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it was a problem, because just because I was a good football player doesn't automatically mean I'm going to be a good coach. Doesn't automatically mean I'll be able to understand how to put together social media
or do the marketing or any fan engagement.
Exactly.
or anything. And I think you bring me to the next point I was going to talk about is skills. And where do you get the skills, and how do you get the skills? How do you build on this? And it's really sad to see that if you look at a lot of the sports programs around Europe, they focus more on the science aspect of sport. So you're focusing on the biology, the physiology, chemistry, and you're actually focusing on practicing sport. And very few of them have programs, and I'm talking all of Europe. In Czech Republic, there's now one program, which I'll get into maybe a bit later. But the skills aren't being taught in the university. So, these athletes don't have an opportunity necessarily right now in Europe to even get these skills from a university setting. They have to find and seek out internships, and I suggest they do it while they're young.
No, without a doubt.
Yeah?
The sooner the better.
Yeah, you can play sports, intern, and go to school at the same time. And no matter where you study, what you study, you could be studying medicine, you could be studying anything, but if you want to still stay involved in sports, pick up a quick internship. There's tons of teams, tons of federations that would love to have the extra hands-on help, and they'll be giving you the skills you need to sort of be a sports marketer, be a facility manager, event manager, fan engagement manager, international development manager. So I think there's a lot of opportunities for young people out there to stay involved in sports and learn the business side of sports without being thrown in.
Without a doubt, like I have friends in Poland that are very successful as a football club, and one of the things I've been working with them through this pandemic as well, and just saying, learning from them, hey, what can you teach us? And we're kind of brother team, so to speak. And one of the things that he said, and then this is in Poland, where I mean, Polish culture obviously is very different than Czech culture, but not night and day, right?
Okay. All right.
And we were talking about volunteers and these types of like young students getting involved, and not even young students in general getting involved in these internships and these opportunities and learning. And he's like, yes, it's no problem. I'm like, it's a bit of a challenge here in the Czech Republic to get that, but we keep trying. And I'm really thankful for Hanka, who does social media for us. We regularly share different posts of how somebody could help. Like last week we shared, if there's any guys out there that fly drones and like drones, we have two, the team has two, and they can come out to our practices, and so our coaches don't have to worry about it. Our coaches can coach, and they can fly the drone and tape our practice.
All right.
You know, so even things like
Unit
that.
might be able to help you with that. We have a social media specialist as well. He's pretty fantastic, and some of the best footage we ever got from drones was from the guy that's behind those cameras right now.
Oh, I'll have to remember that.
So Robin is fantastic at that. So if you need somebody.
So those little things, and he's like, you know, and how to start, how to structure it, so that they could come on, and there's some benefits, and if after a year what they're doing is good for the program and the team, like, okay, hey, this non-paid internship now becomes this
paid job.
And that, it was really, really good for me to talk through that with him, because it gave me hope that it could happen in Central Europe, because sometimes I feel like, oh, well, we don't really have a culture of volunteerism here. But
it's getting better. I think especially the concept of internships and practice, apprenticeship, etc. I think it's developing, and I think it is getting stronger. I know a lot of universities now are requiring internships. We've added it to our curriculum at the University of New York in Prague, so any student that's studying any program can get internships for credit, so that they can practice the skills before they hit the workforce. And the same is for athletes, and staying involved in sports through internship. And what other skills do you think? So, all right, we've talked a little bit about education. We're going to talk more about that later. We've talked about the different types of jobs that are available. We've talked about the different places they can find those jobs. What are the personality traits and skills that you think young people or any people who are going to be on the business side of sports need today?
Self-starter. Self-starter is one of the first things that comes to mind, because I feel like.
Can you tell us a little bit more what you mean by self-starter? I agree with him 100%. For those of you that don't know what he means, I think it would be great to explain it a bit more.
Pretty much the ability to problem solve, think ahead, and then act. One of the things I notice when we have 20-somethings, let's say, is, and this might be, I'm not a millennial, I'm just a little bit on the old side for millennial.
All right.
This might be a millennial thing or Gen Z, I don't know.
I'm not going to say where I fell. Sure, age yourself.
Age myself. It's all good. Most people are surprised when they find out how old I am. They think I'm younger, so. But I think one of the things that a lot of, as I'm interacting with people that are, close to half as old as I am, half my age, they need approval, and they're not willing to think ahead, step up, and just do something. Obviously, there is something like, hey, I don't want you to go willy-nilly and share all this and do this without approval.
You mean you don't want people to just buy $1 million player?
No, I don't want that.
NFL player just show up in Prague?
Well, I mean, if that person found the money for that player, I'd say, yeah, good, all on you. That would be the greatest self-starter ever. They found $1 million, they got him, that would be awesome. If that's you out there, come, give me a call.
That's a great self-starter.
That is. Yeah. But you know what I'm saying, as far as the not being, I guess there's a level of courageousness too that would have to come with being a self-starter, because it's one of those things I see over and over. You don't need my approval for, like, it's like you need to get something signed off on something, yes, but you don't need me to stroke your back and say, yes, this is good. You could go with this. And there's times as a coach, as a leader, where you have to do that, and I do it, and I'm all for it. But there's just that thing about saying, hey, I'm going to just sort of grab the bull by its horns and get after this.
I think one of the, going into what you're saying as well, I think one of the really important attributes is tough skin. You need to be able to take rejection, failure, loss of the team, and you need to be able to rebound really fast. Mistakes happen, but the true success is how you solve those mistakes. And when you're dealing in a situation with sports, you never know what's going to happen. And it's not always your mistake. So you have to be able, if you're working in sports marketing, you're working in a venue, you're working even on the legal team. Without mentioning names, we know a famous football club in Czech Republic that's going through some serious issues right now. So no names, but I mean, you have to be able to think fast. You have to be able to spin stuff. You have to be able to realize and be okay when everything's not going your way. Yeah, and I think tough skin is one of the things. If you're going to work in sports, you have to have it. Sponsors are typically, feeling that they're not necessarily getting what they wanted out of their sponsorship. So you have to be able to put up with that. You have to be able to put up with angry fans. And if you're too soft, it's gonna be a tough career choice.
It's one of the things that I have continued to learn and continue to learn each day with that, because that especially as you get to any level where you have any success, people just love to hate, right? I mean, that's just one of the realities.
It's the sad world we live in.
Yeah, so you just have to have some resiliency to you. And you hit on it too, just even with saying that the tough, thick skin, so to speak, is you mentioned in that the ability to fail. Mm-hmm. I think one of the things I'm telling my players all the time is, if they're going 100, we say 111%. Okay. If you're going 111% and full speed, you're going all out, and you make a mistake, I could deal with that. Mm-hmm. If it's an effort mistake, because you're going hard. What I don't like is the mistakes we get from lack of preparation, those types of mistakes. Those shouldn't exist, because if me as a coach, my players are doing a job, we're going to be prepared. But mistakes are going to happen on the field. It's the nature of sport. So I think if you think of that sort of principle in general, even on the sports side, mm-hmm. like I say regularly when we're talking through different things to do on social media or different ways to find new sponsors, I say, mm-hmm. just try it. Like honestly, I'd much rather go 111%, try something, fail, learn from that, adjust things. Then the next time, do it better and score the touchdown, so to speak.
Absolutely. Guys, don't forget to send us your questions. So if you have any questions about what we're talking about, or even if you're way out in left field, sorry for the baseball analogy, then it's fine. We're getting ready very soon to answer your questions. So please send the questions, and Robin's jotting them down.
3 more minutes and then we go to questions.
Oh, cool. So you've got 3 more minutes. Send your questions straight away. Robin is jotting them all down. He's going to slip them to us in 3 minutes, and we're gonna answer your questions. So before we get to that, if you don't mind, I'd like to talk a little bit about giving kids the skill sets, and UNYP is really proud to have launched the first business program dedicated to sports management here in Czech Republic and actually in the region. We are giving kids a solid business foundation of education, so they're learning statistics, they're learning economics, they're learning principles of management and HR. They're going through the basic courses of business, but in addition to that, we're adding things like sports marketing and sponsorships. We're adding sports law, we're adding sports psychology, we're adding coaching, but not how to coach, how to understand coaching from the business side of a club. Yeah, how do you hire a coach? What are the skill sets you're looking for? And so we're including lots of different one credit seminars to give a really large foundation of different business skills that athletes can use in sports. And right now we have Olympic athletes, we have race car drivers, we have hockey players, and professional studying at UNYP on our sports management program, business administration with concentration in sports management program. And we are really excited about this. Yeah.
I'm really excited about it for you guys. Thanks
you.
to the pandemic, right? I even got to do one course for you guys.
That's true. Absolutely. One of my guest speakers. I mean, one of the cool things about sports marketing, which I teach, is this semester, for example, we had 7 guest speakers, including one of the owners of Prague Lions. We had the head of activation and sponsorship for Česká Spořitelna. We had the chief marketing officer for Český Floorball. We had the former CEO of Coca-Cola who sponsored SK Ledecka.
I should have got on those calls.
It was a pretty incredible class. And not only did they learn the fundamentals of fan engagement, sponsorship and partnership engagement, activation, but they also got to learn from professional athletes. We even had Ježek, who's the gold medalist, Paralympic gold medalist and world champion in cycling, guest speaking in the class. It was just phenomenal. And so if you're looking to get that education and the skills you need to really be effective on the business side of sports, then I think you should really look into the University of New York in Prague in our business sports management program.
Man, I'm glad you didn't tell me who the other guest speakers were. I would have been nervous.
it was a packed class. It was absolutely incredible, and I think that's what anyone can expect from the sports management program at UNYP. And we have a few questions. All right, so. Are professional athletes naturally good sports managers? In a way, we've sort of covered this, but no, sorry. You need more skills than the ability to play a sport to manage a sport. I think that's simply said.
And really, I think it comes down to that, yes, 100%. And it really comes down to that person. Mm-hmm. And what role that person had in whatever team and what sort of involvement. Because I think of some of my players that have been with me for years. They're they're not just players, but they come to practice, they do what they need to do as a player, mm-hmm. and they don't really engage much with any of the other stuff, and that's fine. Mm-hmm. But then I have players that do, mm-hmm. and now those guys, if they ever wanted to do more, they're in a better position to be able to help because they kind of were in a position where they could learn and witness it. So it really comes down to, without a doubt, the broad answer is heck no.
Yeah.
To that.
So yeah, but are professional athletes naturally good at sports managers? No. Next question. Can I work in sports business even if I don't like sports? I don't see why not.
Yes, I think so.
Why not? I mean, I didn't even know what floorball was until I started sponsoring it. It was, someone came to me and said, any interest in floorball? I was like, not really. What is it? And then I realized that the target demographic fit perfectly, and the fan base was about the size we could afford in terms of sponsorship. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I don't think you need to like sports to be employed by sports.
No, no, you don't need to. I even think about, I mentioned Hanka, who leads our social media team. Mm-hmm. When she started, her little brother played for our youth team, but she really, American football, what was that? But I mean, she's done a great job, and that goes back to maybe some of those earlier things that we talked about, as far as skills, being teachable. Mm-hmm. I think that's a skill, to go back to something we didn't cover, a skill that I don't think a lot of people really think about, but it is so important. as a coach, I'd say be coachable,
Mm-hmm.
but be teachable and always be like, hey, I just want to be a sponge and I want to learn and grow instead of, the table where you're going to pour water and it's just going to fall off, right? But to be a sponge where you're going to take this information that's around you and learn and use it to get better, to better yourself, to better the team that you're working with or for, and whatnot. So yeah, without a doubt, you don't have to love or even know about that sport.
That's right.
to be able to really do good work for that.
Another thing that comes to mind just quickly is event managers.
Yeah.
I think there's tons of amazing event managers out there that manage sporting events that have nothing to do with sports, don't care about the sports, but their passion is in the planning. So I think if you're interested in being a facility manager or you're interested in events management, I think your like or dislike of sports is irrelevant. Your passion for events is what will matter. So,
Yeah, I mean,
just an example.
No, that's a great example. Like our former GM, who unfortunately passed away last summer, the thing he did best was throw parties.
Okay, that's a good skill to have.
And my goodness, for American football, that the whole concept of tailgating, like to have a big party before the game, and then a lot of times that continues for them after the game. But like that, to be able to throw a good party like that requires no interest in the sport. It's like, hey, we're gonna do. I'm working for this team. I want to see this team be successful.
But it's an important aspect of the sport.
Exactly, without a doubt. For American football, what sport do you know off the top of your head that has that type of most American sports, I guess you could say, because tailgating is kind of a thing, but especially around American football, whether it's college in the States or NFL, that is such a vibrant part of the game day experience. So we need people that are good at throwing parties. You good at throwing a party? Give me a call. We could find some work for you.
Do you want to read the next one?
How can companies get into sports sponsorships?
Good question.
Call me.
There you go. I have my plug, now it's your turn, right? No, I think how do companies get involved in sports sponsorship? I mean, he's right, call them. Go to the sports, talk to people around. But here's the other thing, and I just want to say this because I hope there's a lot of athletes out there watching us tonight, a lot of Prague Lions players, etc. Sponsors aren't just for the managers.
No.
When UNYP started working together with the athletes on the team, it's when it went from a sponsorship to a partnership.
Exactly.
And Pepe Juha, Michael Pajak, who are now both UNYP students and elite team players for Sparta Floorball, when they came on board at UNYP and they started working together with us to promote the sports management program or even other programs at UNYP, it all just it was like an aha moment. So if you're a player out there, talk to your managers first. Don't just engage your sponsors. That could be very dangerous. Yeah, so I don't want to give you bad advice, but talk to your managers first, because there could be some great synergies between you as an athlete and the sponsor. How you could end up working together, bringing more money to your team and your club. So if you really do care and you're kind of interested in working with that sponsor, you never know what opportunities financially could be there for you. You never know how you might have such an incredible synergy with the sponsor that the club or the association ends up gaining from it. So just because you're an athlete doesn't mean you play ball only. Yeah, there's a lot of other things you can do and be part of, but you need to talk to the managers first. What would you say if your players start getting involved with sponsors? Yes,
I love it. And one of the things that I talk to the guys all the time about, one of the best American football programs in all of Europe, they have a big name involved, family that's a well-known family throughout Europe, throughout the world. That company, that family got involved because some kid from the club was handing out flyers, and one of their sons received a flyer for that football team, and now where that football team is in club, it's completely, some places different, just because it was, let's be honest, a stupid little flyer. That could change something, but I tell my players all the time, I tell that story nonstop, because I say, you never know what kid you're going to be handing something to in a bus that might just want to play a sport. So that's a completely micro level, right? But without a doubt, like I think of American football, the Prague Lions, we're at, give or take, 200 active members. When you all of our youth teams, our coaches, that's 200 potential networks different. And if our players were to take more ownership and wouldn't just, I think one of the biggest things that we're constantly fighting against here, well, everywhere, but I feel like it's a little bit more pronounced here, is somebody else is going to do that work. So I'm not going to do it. But Mark, you hit it right on the head, whereas if players start taking an interest, not only is it going to help them, so in reality, it's kind of, they're being selfish. Like, it's going to help you just do it. Like, you're helping yourself.
Yeah.
And that's good.
Yeah.
It's going to help the club. It's going to help the teammates. And at the end of the day, like you said, the opportunities, if something takes off, are the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
I would love that.
But don't go willy-nilly chatting up your sponsors without your manager's permission.
That's true.
That's key. But if you pitch your ideas to your managers of how you could cooperate with the sponsor, man, that could just be a game changer. So many puns in sports. It's really hard to avoid them. Sorry.
No, it's true.
All right, last question. Why do I need an education? I do sports all my life. Well, good luck to you, and I'm really proud of you, and that's fantastic. Until you don't. Do you want to add to that? Yeah, that's a really aggressive way of looking at it. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, Zach.
Someone is saying hi from Brazil.
Hi, Brazil.
Hello, Brazil. Wow.
Are they going to play floorball or football?
At some point, you're not going to be able to play sports.
Yeah.
You know, at some point. So you need to make sure you're ready for those days. And when we look at American football, or even floorball, I would imagine, like, there's not still right now a ton of money in it. So like you need something else. I mean, you could. We're getting to the point with American football where people can make careers of it in Europe. So yeah, you need.
But it might not be giving you the savings that you would get if you were playing American football in America or you were playing football here in Prague.
Yeah.
You know, those are careers that are short-lived but give you a savings to live on afterwards. But a lot of the professional sports are, you know, they're paying a wage, but it's not going to pay you through your 60s and 70s. You know,
or even in your 40s.
You're gonna have
you're doing paying for now.
You're probably done somewhere in your 30s. That's right. So I mean, definitely start now to look at your education and where you want to go. And getting a business education with a concentration in sports management, you can never go wrong. You're ready to go into any industry, any marketing department, any finance department. I mean, you're good to go. So getting the right education and staying involved in sports, critical.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. So Zach, we're in our last few minutes. Is there anything I reached out to everyone watching tonight. Do you want to reach out and give your pitch for Prague Lions? Because I'm sure you need more players, more money, more managers, more interns.
Yeah, really. If you're interested in anything that we talked about tonight, reach out to us. You could drop us a message right now on Instagram, the Prague Lions account, or you could find us at info@lions.cz. But really, if you're interested in playing, there's opportunities for that. If you're interested in any of the stuff that we talked about as far as business goes, and an internship, check out our Instagram account. We're constantly sharing different opportunities. I mean, last year, when we thought we were just going to have a season, we went through a post about physiotherapists.
Oh wow!
And people getting some praxi and some on-the-job experience, and it was amazing to see how many people responded to that. So there's so many different opportunities. We joked around about the drone stuff. if you like videos, here's one that you and I've talked about. We need somebody, if you love TikTok and want to do a Prague Lions TikTok, like, I'm not, like, I can dance somewhat, but like, I'm not going to dance on TikTok. That's not me. But like, there's just so many little things that if you're interested in helping out and being part of a family, one of the things that we talk about with the Prague Lions is we really want to create a family. Drop us a message, or if it's anything about the charity stuff. And of course, if you're a sponsor, if you're a business leader, and you're looking to get into a sport that has great exposure. Like in reality, how many times, like in 2019, we were in live TV, I believe, 3 or 4 times.
Okay, wow.
And then the interviews that went on because of us winning, I can't even give you a number for that. And so like we actually have a product that we could sell. Of course, it's a product that's still growing, but it's a product that could sell. And so if that's you, if you're a business leader and you're looking to do it, this is probably the best year because we're kind of saying, hey, we're scaling back a little bit and saying, hey, get involved now. Right now, normally this package is a little bit more in a regular year, but because of the situation, it's scaled back a little bit, but get it now and grow this with us. So.
Great. And if you're interested in studying sports management at UNYP, you can visit us at www.unip.cz. You can contact us on our Instagram profile by writing us a DM. And we do have an amazing TikTok page. So if you haven't seen our TikTok page, you should go there immediately now, follow us, and like all of our videos.
It's true.
And please click the copy link a couple times as well, yeah? Thank you guys. Thank you for being with us tonight.
Yeah, thanks.
Cool.